What's up, guys? Welcome back to Stay True Podcast. I'm your host, Madison Pruitt Troutt, and I'm here with Grant Troutt.
Hey, guys. Good to be here.
And we're kind of matching.
Yeah, Grace. It feels like a great type of day.
It feels good. I am sweating in here a little bit, though.
Already?
Yeah, I am sweating.
Wow.
I don't know. I think it's just, it's female time of the month. I'm just sweating.
Or your amazing husband's next to you, and it's just a little overwhelming.
Yeah, you're really attractive,
man.
I'm just, yeah. But I'm excited for today. Today's will be fun because we're just actually going to answer some of the questions you guys have submitted. So we're going to do a little Q&A. Which I'm so excited about because we'll get to just like get into your brains and what, you guys are wondering about, what questions you have for us, and really just have fun.
Yes.
But I want to start with a game.
Okay. Let's play a game.
I want to start with a game because
Why,
this is a test to see how well you know me.
Oh, Lord.
So I hope you're a little stressed.
Okay. All right.
But the premise of the game, so we have a little basket here, and there are some, don't peek, don't cheat.
All right.
There's some folded up questions in here, and I'm going to read the question. Then we're going to have to write down on our piece of paper the answer.
Okay.
I'm going to be obviously writing the correct answer because they're questions about me.
Okay.
And you're going to write down your answer and we'll see how well you know me.
I know you. I have full confidence.
He says he knows me, and then I'll let you guys be the judge of that, and we'll see how many answers he gets right.
No pressure, no wait. Let's go.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay, first question.
Yep.
What's my favorite thing about you?
Oh, easy.
Okay, wait. You can't look at mine.
Easy money. Oh, wait. You wrote way longer than I did. All right, ready?
1, 2, 3.
My joy.
Joy and smile.
Yeah. Okay. I just put joy.
Joy and smile. I had to do like a physical and then like the more deeper spiritual attribute.
Amazing.
Okay. Question number 2.
1 for 1.
You are 1 for 1. I'm proud. How do I connect with God the most?
Easy. Easy, guys.
Okay, let's see if he talks a big game.
Ready?
Guys. 1, 2, 3.
Nature.
What? I said prayer.
Oh, Maddie. You have word for word said I connect with God most in nature.
Okay.
You know
You're
that.
not wrong. You're not wrong.
You don't even know you. I know you.
I do know me. I connect. Prayer is like my favorite way.
I think prayer is one of your spiritual gifts. I think you connect with God the most in nature.
Okay, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I won't count that one against you. We'll say you're 2 for 2.
That's got to be 2 for 2.
Because that is kind of true. What's my favorite holiday?
Oh my goodness. By a million.
He gets annoyed at how much I love
this woman. Christmas. In summertime.
Okay.
She will start pushing me.
I will start singing.
Get on my Christmas music.
We do start singing randomly. I sing in my baby voice often, and we'll just sing.
She'll just start singing Christmas
we'll sing
jingles.
Christmas music.
And I'm like, babe, it's July.
I don't know why. Christmas makes me really happy.
This was a big point of tension in our marriage our first year.
Holiday
how much she
traditions
loves Christmas.
And holiday traditions, like things that I grew up doing. And Grant's like, let's go watch a football game.
It's like mid-November, and she's like crying to me that we don't have our tree yet. And I'm like, baby, it's like, let us go Thanksgiving first, please.
No, everyone knows you put it up beginning of November.
Okay. You know what? And it was up till February. That's all I know.
But all I know is we have very different approaches to how we spend Christmas. He likes to watch football on Christmas Day.
Guys, we were at the Cowboys game Christmas Eve, and she was hurting.
I was crying.
She was so hurt. And I'm like, go Cowboys, baby. It's okay.
He's like jumping up and down, cheering. He's like, those are my Cowboys. And I'm like crying in the corner. And I'm like, I want to watch, the Polar Express.
Yeah, she wanted that Polar Express.
Be in my Christmas pajamas.
Yeah.
Anyways.
It's okay.
So Christmas is clearly my favorite holiday.
Clearly.
What is my go-to quiet time routine?
Okay.
This is actually kind of hard because it switches up every day.
Well, like which day of the week? But in your best self, I think this is it.
In my best self.
All right. It's...
this is like a long answer, though.
It's prayer.
Now I kind of want to play this game and flip it. So we'll have to do that next time.
it's prayer.
He's talking out loud.
Then
I could
read.
easily do yours. Okay. I'm showing mine. We got it right.
All right. First, she starts with prayer. I'm holding this so loosely.
I did prayer closet and Bible commentary.
Bible commentary. So what we mean by Bible commentary is this woman will go slow in her reading, and she'll have Blue Letter Bible up, and she'll literally like, do you just copy what's said?
I just like to I'll read a chapter in my Bible. So right now I'm going through Romans. I'll read a chapter in my Bible, and then I like to read commentary to get like full understanding of context, what certain words mean. And yeah, I'll just like take notes from the commentary.
Wow.
It's been fun. Okay, next question.
So wait, what am I? I feel like I'm 100%.
No,
like,
so you're...
I'm 4 for 5. 3 for 4?
4 for 5? 5 for 6?
2 for 1? What are we? Where are we?
I don't know.
All right, keep going.
How do I handle my emotions?
Holy mess.
I know your answer for yourself.
She,
I said I
she
don't.
doesn't. I literally, you said you don't?
I said I don't.
I literally said she doesn't.
I didn't
She
know what you were
does
going to
not.
put. I was like, do I say I suppress
I'm like, hey,
them?
unpack handle. What do you mean by handle emotions?
You literally wrote what I wrote.
She doesn't.
Okay, what's my worst habit?
Worst habit.
I feel like I know what you're going to say.
Worst habit?
I feel like this is what you're going to say. Wow, it's taking you way too long. That's good, guys.
Well, because like I know,
yeah, or like a pet peeve that you would say is my worst habit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I said the same thing you said.
Popping my
knuckles.
Yes.
Yep.
God, I feel like we're on the same page today.
Yeah,
I
we're
could have
really-
said fingers
We're
easily.
We're synced.
But we said knuckles.
No, because that's what you call it. You always
Knuckles
say I'm
is
popping
such a
my
weird,
knuckles.
such a weird word.
Okay, we'll do a few more. How do I like my steak cooked?
Okay. Wow, what a question. I can't turn the page.
Turn the
I'm
page.
stuck.
Okay.
All right. How does she like her steak cooked? What's the word I'm looking for?
Come on. I do feel like typically girls know guys better than guys know girls.
Medium well.
Medium well.
Yep. I mean dry, guys.
It's not dry.
This woman is
There's a
ripping
difference between medium
apart.
well and well done.
Tough. The answer's tough.
No.
How many are we doing? The whole thing?
No, I said a few more.
Oh, let's go.
He's already over it, guys.
I'm not over it. I'm just killing this game. So you better step your game up. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so then I'm not going to do that one. What's my love language? I don't know.
You don't even know it. So you're out here trying to get me. Here's what I'm going to tell you after a year and a half of marriage that I've seen.
Yeah, you tell me, sweetie. I said all of them.
Okay.
What did you say?
I think your acts of service, number one.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't care what you say. Show me what you are trying to say. And then physical touch.
Yeah, I'm
I
a
think
big
you just
physical
love
touch.
like
Physical touch for sure. And then, yeah, it means a lot to me when you follow through with action and like doing little
Yes.
thoughtful things. Like
Yep.
if he comes home with like a coffee for me, or he picks up flowers, or the other day he knows I love baths. So he got me like some Epsom salts. And
that was huge.
That was really sweet.
Can't teach that stuff, guys.
Actually, I've mentioned it a million times.
Actually, she's begged for it for a year and a half.
Okay, when was our first date and where? I made these too easy.
December 3rd.
December 3rd,
Mikosina.
Mikosina.
Yep. I mean, that's
Okay,
like,
bonus question. What
Okay.
was I wearing?
oh, she was in this, oh my gosh, all black outfit. I think it was like a leather black jacket.
Yep.
And like some black jeans.
and black boots.
and
I really
was
went for the all black
like the
look.
Dark Knight has arrived. Wow.
Okay, I'm trying to find gotta end on a good one.
I just want to say, can you encourage me for a second?
Yeah.
I'm killing this.
You are. Okay, I'm going to give you a tough one.
'Kay.
Who do I relate to most in the Bible? Because there's a lot of people.
I mean, that's not hard, is it? I'm like, let me see your book.
Well, most.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, we gave different answers. You have to hold yours up.
How is it not Esther?
I said Paul.
Paul? Okay.
Like,
maybe.
Paul in different ways.
He's a dude.
But like, just his journey.
I know.
Just his journey and what he's had to overcome.
But like, your whole book is about this Esther moment.
I didn't know if you would. Okay, then you have to end on a win.
Okay.
What's my go-to coffee order? There's no way to like do this short. Okay.
Iced vanilla latte.
Iced vanilla latte with oat milk. You didn't write with oat milk.
I knew oat milk. I knew that.
He didn't write it.
As soon as you said it, I was like,
I
oat
feel
milk.
like you get a B+.
No, that is an A- at the very least. Do not.
Like you get
Do not
B+.
start.
I think I would have gotten every single one of these right for you.
Oh, well, okay.
But you still did good.
Shotty said Paul. She's like,
I'm still proud of you.
I mean, it is Esther by far.
We talk about that. Don't act like it's like totally.
I mean, one aspect of Paul's life for sure.
Anyways.
Anywho, let's get to some questions.
All right.
All
I feel
right.
like you just did really good. I'm really proud. I feel known, seen, and loved by you.
Beautiful. It's a combination I always want to fill for you.
I feel so
Seen
known by you.
Yeah, you should. You should.
We are going to be answering today all of the questions you guys have submitted.
Yes.
So we have not talked about these together.
Nope.
I've not even really looked over these.
Nope.
So this is a raw and real answer to your questions. We are just pressing record and going for it.
Yep. Which, by the way, press record. We like really dreamed of a podcast one day.
At some point, we thought we were going to start our own podcast together, and it was going to be called Press Record.
And just like, hey, we're just pressing record, no prep, no nothing. Just here's what it is.
Like you can't plan for it. You literally just have to press record, and whatever subject comes to your mind, you have to like talk about.
Okay. First question.
Okay. Wow, this is a deep one, so let's do a not so deep one first. Okay, how do guys feel the most pursued?
Oh.
Like how you as a man, how do you feel the most pursued by me?
Like in dating, like by you or
in
like
dating? Well, hopefully you're not referring to
No, I don't know where
he's like by you or another woman.
Well, it says asking
as the girlfriend. So
okay.
like me, when we were dating, me as your girlfriend, and then now that we're married, me as your wife. How do you feel the most pursued? How did you in dating and how do you in marriage?
Yep. Okay. Dating. Number one, I felt very pursued when you took interest in the things that I liked. So if I loved the NBA, she moves my microphone because I always hold it in front of my face.
He blocks his face.
I'm like, hey guys,
I'm like,
it's way up here. I'm like,
I literally can't
looking at the
see you.
clips, I'm like, you can't see anything because the mic
I'm like, you're
is
saying
on my nose.
some really good stuff, but I can't see you.
What is wrong? I do the same thing in person.
Like,
I hold it like I'm Eminem in 8 Mile about to go off.
Rap.
All right.
Okay.
So here's the deal.
In dating, when I took an interest in
like I love the Mavs games, and so like for you to be like excited about going to a Mavs game with me, I felt very pursued by that. I didn't need for you to like encourage me in that. I was just like, oh, want to go with me. Another thing is how I feel pursued. This is me specifically. Like when you ask me what I'm learning in God's word, you would be like, hey,
you do love that.
Tell me a story that you've recently read, and you just kind of can draw something out of me. And I feel very pursued.
I'm laughing because
why are you laughing? That was such
yesterday. It was a great answer, babe. I agree.
Oh my gosh!
Yesterday he comes home and he has so much energy.
I have a word from the Lord for my wife.
I was down in the dumps, which later, girl thing. I started my period, so now I understand why. But I was like just depressed and down. And he is like has the most energy I've ever seen since we've been married. And he's bouncing off the walls. He's like telling me everything about the Bible and everything he's learning.
She's not responding.
And I'm just
all.
Sitting there. I'm like, that's awesome.
She's like cutting these potatoes like in the saddest way I've ever seen. And I'm like, so babe, and then Jonathan said this. And she doesn't respond. So I'm like, all right, there's another story.
Yeah. And then he keeps going. And I'm like, at the end, I'm like, babe, that's really awesome.
Anyways, a guy can feel very pursued when a girl takes interest in what he likes, even though they probably don't like that thing. I think how you love people the most is like, get to know what they love. Mm-hmm. And even if it's a force for you, like ask them about it, encourage them in it. Hey, let's go do this. If your boyfriend loves shoes, like I think something's really cool. Like, hey, let's go look at some shoes. Yeah. Let's go to the mall and walk around, look at some shoes. Like, even if you hate that, it's a way to step into their world and be like, I just want to like show you I love the things that you love.
Yeah. It's coming towards them. It's loving them in their love language, not loving them from how you want to be loved, but loving them how they want to be loved. Mm-hmm. And so take interest in what interests them. I think that's great. What about marriage? Would you say the same thing?
No, marriage is a lot more like,
it's deep.
It's deeper encouragement. It's like deeper, like speak identity over me. Like you hold the most power. Someone said this, like 1,000 people could tell me, Grant, good job. It does not matter until I know what my wife thinks. Like, Grant, you get off the stage and they say, hey, that was awesome. That's great. But like, if you don't say anything when I come home, I'm like, how was it? Like, what do you think? Like,
why am I crying?
A woman, like a wife holds the power to literally lift up her man or like pummel her man into a shell of himself with her words, with her belief in her action.
And the Proverbs talk about that. Like our words have the power of life and death. And there is a scripture in Proverbs that has been so convicting to me. And it talks about how our words can either like pierce like a sword or be as healing as it says like a honeycomb or something. And it's just like, wow, I don't know. That's just like so powerful to me. Like, wow, my words can either heal or they can kill. And so how I speak to my husband and about my husband matters so much.
Matters a lot. It really does.
Words are powerful. We've definitely seen that. I think our first 6 months of marriage, we were a little reckless with our words.
Yeah, loose
and careless.
Loose with them.
And just like, and not anything too crazy. We didn't like cuss each other out or anything like that, but we definitely, you know, raised our voices a little bit, and
totally.
mainly me.
Man.
And you know, we just said really careless things and then words that we couldn't take back. So yeah, I would say you're definitely a words of affirmation person, and so you definitely desire from those that you care about the most. I would say from like me and JP, who's like his mentor and pastor. Our pastor is like another person that you really care about. You know, words. So that's good. Okay. Best date we've ever gone on.
Whoa. Best date. Okay.
In dating, I would say we were in Cabo with a bunch of friends for a wedding. Yeah. And one night he planned the most romantic date night. I was so proud.
Under the stars.
Because I wouldn't say that is like typically like you're like, oh, let me go plan this like date. He's more of a
I was like better in dating. Go for off the cuff.
You were good in dating.
Get back
you
to
gotta
that
get
game,
back.
man. I've been off the game.
You've got to step it up. Hey, you said it, not me. You said it.
Hey, mark my words.
You said it.
I'm gonna stay true to what I just said. I'm about to ask her in a second.
You have to hold him accountable, and you ask him
I'm gonna get better.
In a few weeks how he's doing.
I'm gonna get better
with his dates.
So we're in Cabo under the stars,
and we're just having the most amazing conversation and just like overlooking the ocean. And at this point, we were like pretty sure we were going to get married.
I think we touched on this.
Yeah. We talked about it up at this point, but this was like the moment that, at least for me, like I walked away from this date and I was like, I'm going to marry that man.
Yep. It was phenomenal.
It was so good.
Phenomenal.
So yeah, you need to step up your game in marriage.
Yeah, I do. I feel like this is a convicting question. By the way, I made you spaghetti last night. How was that?
He did make me spaghetti. I didn't eat it all.
Yeah, I saw that actually. Now that we're talking about that, I actually noticed that. You didn't really eat a ton of it, did you?
It was great, sweetie. I'm really thankful. That's like his first time probably really cooking.
Well, don't throw me. I mean, my gosh, to the world, everybody. I'm trying to get better, and we all have areas we could grow in.
We do. There's so many things you're so great at. I just would say that I'm typically the one who likes to cook.
You are the more consistent cook.
I'm the domestic wife.
You are a good wife.
Thank you. Okay, now let's get to a little bit of a deeper question.
Okay.
What boundaries did you have in dating that helped you both chase purity?
We needed some boundaries.
Yeah, that was very important for us to address at the beginning.
Like we were super tempted. I mean, like a lot of couples.
We were very attracted to each other.
We were.
We pretty much knew from date one that we wanted to marry each other.
Kind of. I think it took some more time than date one.
I would say like date one, we were like, I could for sure see this being in game, but we definitely needed the time to like evaluate each other.
So I think boundaries that we set that were really helpful. And like we had to like learn this, but man, just like one, spiritual boundaries, take those very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think like the Lord created a man and a woman. Like when you go somewhere spiritually with them, it then prepares your body sexually.
Yeah.
And so like the one time, I think we said this, we prayed super deep together, and then it led us to like a lot of temptation.
Yeah.
We were like, whoa, why do I like my body's reacting to this?
Mm-hmm.
Second thing, the couch was our absolute place that we could not go to. And so at the end of the night, like we would try and watch a movie laying down together. Almost every time it's like, oh, we got to get up.
Yeah.
Like something's about to happen.
Like you literally got to leave the house right now.
I mean, 10 minutes into the movie, I'm just like looking at her like, hey girl, what's up? Like, you know, like what we doing here? And so we just had to say, hey, the couch, like David in 1 Samuel, you can't just, it's a dangerous place to be.
David in 1 Samuel?
Well,
Bathsheba?
said he was on the couch, and then he was walking, and then he just saw Bathsheba.
Okay.
When a man is on a couch,
when a man is on a couch,
bored, bad things happen.
And that's a word.
That's a word for somebody.
That's a word for somebody.
That's a word.
I think for us, truly what was the most helpful in pursuing purity was having accountability.
No doubt.
You had an accountability partner.
Yeah.
I had an accountability partner. And so we both had, you had a guy holding you accountable. I had a girl holding me accountable.
Yeah.
And that was not just someone to confess to when something, happened, but that was someone to also ask us intentional questions and help put up guardrails so that nothing would happen. And that was very helpful for us.
Yeah. Yep.
And we were not perfect.
No,
like I
we
also
weren't.
want to start off by saying like we were definitely not perfect. We were like, hey, purity is really important to us because it's a call by God.
Yes.
And because we believe that this is meant, all sexual acts, like not just like having sex, but all sexual acts are meant to be within the context of marriage. And we both had different stories leading up to each other, and different pasts and different testimonies. But we knew that, walking in God's best meant walking in purity, and choosing to follow God's word meant choosing to, resist temptation and, flee from sexual immorality and pursue holiness. And so we knew that was our why. But that does not mean that we were perfect in it.
Totally.
And, the times that we did fall short, I think that what was helpful again was having accountability to confess to, but not just letting that be like an outlet of like, oh, we did it again. It's like, no, now it's time to, really intensify what am I trying to say?
Lock in. Like,
yeah.
just
now
take
it's
it
trying
serious.
to lock in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's time to, make sure this doesn't happen again. And so for me with Janine, if I'm like, hey, Grant and I were kissing and I started feeling things and I got, we were really wanting to take it far and I was having these thoughts and feeling these things, like, I just want to confess that to you because I know that that is not God's best for me and that is not what God calls our relationship to. And so I am confessing this to you and I need you to hold me accountable so that this doesn't happen again.
So like, why stay pure? 1 Thessalonians 4:3-5, clearly, hey, this is the will of God. Whoa, hey, I want to know the will of God. What's the will of God for my life? Mm-hmm. That you abstain from sexual immorality, that each of you know how to control his own body in holiness and honor, not like the Gentiles who do not know God. So do you know God? Yeah, I know God. What's the will of God for my life? That you stop being sexual before marriage. So if you start there and you're like, oh, at the end of that verse, it says God is the avenger of these things. One, you take it very seriously because God created this powerful thing that outside the context of marriage is dangerous.
Yeah.
So you start there. Sex was created in the confines of marriage for bonding a husband and a wife and procreation.
Yeah.
And the cherry on top is it feels really, really good. So if that's why he created it, it's not meant to be played with outside of marriage. So the boundaries that we took, because we knew God's the avenger of these things, is okay. We don't want to mess with God's design.
Yeah.
So people, you got to help us. You have to get people involved. If you date in secrecy, if it's just you and your boyfriend, you will mess up.
Yeah.
You will.
That's a fact.
The boyfriend and the girlfriend that have nobody around them and it's like, it's just us versus the world. It's never a good place to be.
Yeah.
Second, I think it's like, you better be walking with the Lord in your individual life, because the moment I'm not, I'm trying to push boundaries.
Yeah, I would say it is a lot of like purity is more of a heart posture than a physical thing. I think a lot of times when we hear the word purity, we immediately go to
physical,
sexual sin, physical like boundaries, which is for sure an aspect of it. But purity is so much more about the heart.
Absolutely.
Purity is so much more about holiness and our relationship and perspective and faithfulness to God.
Yeah.
And so purity is not just something you do. Purity is who you are. And it talks about that in Ephesians 1:4, that before the creations of the world, he created us to be holy and blameless in his sight. And so we were created to be holy. We were created to be pure. And so when we go outside of that, we're going outside of God's original design and calling for our life. And so what we saw was anytime we did not pursue God's call and we stepped outside of that, calling of purity, whether it be in an individual life or our life together before we knew each other or while we were dating each other, it robbed, it took confidence, it took peace, it took joy.
Yeah, it's like
I feel like
every time that we got close and like we didn't do anything crazy, but it's like anytime we got close, all of a sudden we're like, are we for each other? Is this supposed to happen?
Yeah,
am I the one for you?
Confusion,
and it robs you of your confidence.
Absolutely.
And like I look at men all the time and I'm like, you will only ever operate at 60% of the man God made you to be while you're stuck in sexual sin. That's a fact. That's a fact. Like Proverbs 5, it says you are giving your honor and your years over. She will kill you. She is like the forbidden woman Proverbs talks about, but it's so serious. And we would beg you, do whatever it takes to fight this fight, because Satan is using this and twisting this and only causing pain. God is not looking to withhold from you. He's looking to protect you and then set you free.
Yeah.
So he's not a fun killer. That's not who he is. The creator of sex said it's best like this.
Yeah.
We got to trust that.
Yeah. Purity is protection. Purity brings peace.
Yeah.
Purity.
Give me one more double P.
Brings pleasure.
Oh my goodness.
In the right way.
Wow.
With the right person.
Amen.
Because anytime you do it outside of God's original design, again, it brings destruction. When we fall for Satan's lies and temptations and we give in to the things of this world and the things of our flesh, like every single time we will see what follows is not what is promised, which is pleasure and safety and security and fun. What follows is shame, regret, resentment, confusion, feeling bound, feeling frustrated, feeling like all the feelings of just like negativity and feeling bad about yourself, feeling bad about the relationship. And so that's what sin does, is it over promises and it under delivers. It always dangles this like treat in front of you. And then as soon as you fall for it, it's like, a mouse in a trap, like you get snapped. Like it truly is. Like that's what sin does to you. And so we see and we've seen not only purity within dating as important, but purity within marriage.
Huge.
And how important it is.
And people are like, man, once you get married, you're not going to struggle at all.
Yeah.
And that is such a lie. And that's another podcast we need to talk about. For sure. But the last thing I want to say about this is you won't be perfect, but I just think as I study the word of God, why David was a man after God's own heart was like he was broken and contrite over his sin. And so if your boyfriend or girlfriend is always pushing boundaries and they're not burdened and broken over their sin, that's a sign that I don't know if they're walking with the Lord like they should be. Because every time you and I got close, I just remember both of us like in tears, we're like, we don't want that. And I just know the Lord is merciful to those that don't try and do good for him. Their heart is truly broken over sinning against him. Because I'm not sinning against you as much as I'm sinning against him.
Yeah, I think that's really good. And I think another thing that I would speak to too, that we alluded to, was the importance of purity in even your aloneness, like not even referring to you in a relationship, whether you're dating or married, but purity when you're just alone and all by yourself. What are you thinking about? What are you watching? What are you listening to? Because what we see filters into what ends up, what we feel, what we do, like, and so being careful with what we allow in, because that's what's going to come out. And so what you feed yourself, what you consume matters so much. And so I do think, pornography is a really important thing to touch on when we're talking about purity. I think steamy romance novels is an important thing to touch on while we're talking about purity, as well as, certain movies and TV shows. There are certain TV shows that I know even Christians watch that I'm like, I don't think you should be watching that TV show when there's constant nudity scenes and sex scenes, because I don't see how that could push you closer to God. And I do think that a lie that we believe a lot of times, and this is mainly when we're in relationship with one another, a lie we believe often is like, how close to sin can I get? When instead we should be asking, how close to God can I get? Not can I push the boundary as far as I can without, creating the ultimate, can I get as close to God as I possibly can? And when we do that, we're disgusted and appalled by anything that's not of God. And so when we get close and close, like closer, I can't talk. When we get closer and closer to holiness and purity, the further away we naturally get from sin, because we don't want to have anything to do with sin.
No doubt.
And so it talks about in scripture, like you cannot love God and the world. You cannot love God and sin. You cannot live in God and live in sin. There is a difference between living in sin and practicing sin and habitual sin versus, falling into sin, because we are sinners and we're not going to be perfect. We're going to fall into sin. But there is a difference when it's wrong and you continue to live in it and do it versus fall into it. And so I do think it would be helpful maybe for you to even speak into just like the importance of like our purity in who we are when no one's around.
Yeah, no doubt.
And like what we allow in and how much that matters. Like, what was your journey like with that? Because, and we've both opened up, I think, about this on the podcast, but like we've both had struggles with pornography in the past.
No doubt.
And that was something I struggled with in high school, something that was a struggle for you until, I don't know, a little after college, and something we both had to work really hard to cut out of our life and put up boundaries to pursue the calling that God had for us.
Matthew 5 is Jesus talking all about like lust. And he's like, hey, cut your right arm off. If you cannot control this, it's better to enter heaven with no right arm than hell with two hands. He says, gouge your right eye out. And so Jesus took this very serious. Yeah. You got to start there. Like Jesus really cares about this. The process for me is I was addicted to pornography. Like I was addicted to everything, it all, physical and pornography. And when I started to walk with Jesus, I was like, this is stealing from me. It steals your confidence. You can't even walk around outside and think clearly. Like I always talk about, it's like the Claritin Clear commercial. I mean, the world is black and white. You can't see clearly. You're stuffy. Like everything's just off. And then this girl on the Claritin, whatever it's called, Claritin Clear, she takes the pill and it's like, vroom, green grass, blue skies, vibrancy. She's laughing. She's hugging people. That when you walk in purity, that is the transformation that I experienced. I couldn't even like hug my boys when I'm stuck in that. I'm like, I don't even feel worthy to like touch people. That's how much it steals from you. So what I did is, you talk about cutting off your right arm. I took off everything on my phone except calling and texting. Cannot download apps. I didn't have Safari. How did you do that, Grant? I got one accountability partner. He put a code on my phone and it took everything off. First step. The second step, how else do I access it? I had an Xbox in my room and I slept alone. Threw out my Xbox, gave away my laptop, and I had a roommate that moved in with me. Dude, that's a lot, Grant. How bad do you want to get free? Yeah. Third, I confessed at the thought level. Okay, guys, I'm alone in my room right now. I'm really tempted. Can y'all pray for me? The moment I would text that out, before I was proactive, not reactive. That's good. The moment I would text that out, 90% of the battle is won. Hey guys, I'm in my room alone right now. I'm actually really tempted. Will y'all pray for me? Boom. the grip is gone.
Yeah.
Sometimes I had to leave hey guys, I'm coming over right now. I'm so tempted. And so you have to take these steps that are, they are not, what's the word? Like they're not easy. They're not comfortable is what I'll say.
They're
like
intense
it's very not comfortable
and intentional,
but you got to fight hard.
Yeah.
Covenant Eyes that you put on your phone, it's an app. It doesn't allow you to look up any adult content on your phone. You can take off the Safari icon, give away anything that's your stumbling block. Xbox out, it's gone. Like it's not worth it. And I'm looking at you now, Grant, why do you speak with such confidence and boldness on this topic? Dude, I was so enslaved. But the Lord, like Jesus in a story in John, he looked at this man and he said, do you want to be healed? And I think we're waiting for Jesus to come and touch us and heal us. There's a role and responsibility and response that you have to your healing.
Amen.
Jesus says, do you want to be healed? And we're like, yes. And he says, well, then stand up. So you have to take this step to stand up and take responsibility for your healing and stop waiting for God to go, one day I'll zap you and you'll never be tempted again. So
no, that's so good. And the Bible backs that up so much with just like faith plus action. It takes action too. There is an action step that backs up our belief. If we believe that God is who he says he is, if we believe that he's done what he says he's done for our life, if we believe that he has set us free and he has a plan and a purpose for our life, and we want to walk in that plan and purpose for our life, that he has for our life, then I think what we have to ask ourselves is like, man, do I act on what I say I believe? Like, am I a person that walks out what I talk about? Because it's very easy to be like, oh, I believe God wants what's best for me. I just want to follow God's will for my life. Yet, like he alluded to, many of us are saying we want to follow God's will for our life, but we're stuck in sexual sin. We're stuck in all of these things that we don't know how to get free from, but we're using the excuse of like, this is just every dude's problem. This is just every girl's problem. This is just 2024. It's what everybody does.
Why did God give me this desire?
Yeah, or God put the desire in my heart.
Blaming it on God.
He shouldn't have even put it there. And it's like, no, we live in a fallen world. We're sinful people. And so as scripture talks about, we have to crucify our flesh. We have to die to our sinful desires. We have to die to ourselves. There are days where I wake up and I'm like, no, it's not in my natural state to humble myself and serve my husband.
Totally.
But I do that because that is my calling. And then a lot of times what happens is when you choose obedience, the feelings of like pleasure and peace follow. And so I may not have the feeling of like, oh, I want to serve my husband. Totally. But when I go and serve my husband, what follows is the like, oh my gosh, that was awesome, because it's what God designed. And I think when we follow, or I know when we follow purity, there's going to be some really hard decisions we have to make, but what will follow are all of the things you're longing for: peace, purpose, confidence, joy, hope, like everything you want when you choose to follow purity. But I love that you spoke about the importance of, you know, being proactive instead of reactive, because I do think that's so many of our issues. Talking about sin in general, not even just sexual sin, but sin in general, is we find ourselves in the heat and the pressure and the temptation of a moment.
And you're reacting to your emotions.
We're reacting to our feelings and our emotions and our thoughts.
Yeah, you got to set up.
You can't trust yourself in the moment.
Nope.
You can't. Nope. Your feelings will lie to you. Your feelings will mislead you. Your feelings are valid, but they're not always right. Your feelings, you can acknowledge them without letting them to be the leader of your life. They will mislead you and lead you down a road of resentment and regret. So you can't find yourself in the heat of the moment just going off of whatever you feel. So in those moments, you better have already made up your mind, like, this is how I'm going to respond when this pressure and temptation come. And so for me, I made the decision to save myself for marriage when I was, you know, in college. And there were multiple moments after that decision that I was like, oh my gosh, this is hard and I'm really tempted. But I had already proactively made that decision. And I think that was important for us, even in our dating life, of, you know, we are making these decisions to not cross these lines, like to not cross these boundaries. Yeah. And we had to be proactive, not only in that conversation, but also in our own individual lives with our accountability partner and with God, to be like, I am proactively deciding right now that I will not cross this line or cross this boundary, and making up our minds, like before the heat and the pressure and the temptation of the moment. Because when we're on that couch, you know, and we're dating and we're watching a movie and we're laying horizontal, which you shouldn't be laying horizontal when you're dating. Totally. It never, like it was so tempting, and we wanted so badly to, you know, to take it further than we should have taken it. But we knew, we've already decided, like, we're not going to do that.
Draw near to God and he'll draw near to you. So something that I think is really important is when you hear this, it's a lot of like, get away, take those away, take boundaries away, stop sinning, stop being sexually immoral. And that's where a lot of people stop, and that will never be enough. When all you do is play defense, that will never be enough. So what you have to do when you replace an addiction or replace an idol, you have to put something in its place. So if you've been addicted to pornography or sexual immorality or whatever it is, sex, sexting, all that, the moment you're like, don't do that. Just don't do that. I'm going to try not do that. If you don't replace it with an action and an offense towards chasing God,
that's good.
Then you'll always be stuck in this, I'm just trying not to. You mess up and you're like, oh my gosh. So you have to displace it with something greater, which is chasing the things of God. So you got to, instead of, no, don't do this, you got to flood your mind with the things of God. Fill your mind with the things of God. Be around God's people. Listen to sermons in the car. Worship in the car. Go to worship nights. And when you start to just flood your mind with the things of God, and you replace those things with something greater, then freedom is found.
That's really
good. But when you're just like, no, don't do it, that's a miserable place to be.
That's religion.
Because it's religion, and it's on you. Discipline, in quotes.
And like you will fall short if it's up to you. You can't live a holy and pure life if it's up to you. The only way you and I can live a holy and a pure life is if it's up to the Spirit inside of us. Like if we're being led by the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, if we're allowing that to lead our life, like it talks about it all in Galatians 5, like do not gratify your flesh, but be led by the Spirit. You know, the desires of the flesh and the desires of the Spirit are in contrary to one another. Like you cannot live in both. But I love that you spoke to that, because I do think it's a putting off and a putting on. Yes. It's both and. So it's not only rejecting what's not holy, but it's pursuing what is holy. And so that's the whole idea of repentance. Like that's the whole idea of I mean, how we get our hearts right with God is like, I'm going to turn from wickedness. I'm going to turn from evil. I'm going to turn from darkness, and I'm going to pursue light. Yeah. I'm going to pursue love. I'm going to pursue holiness. I'm going to pursue God's call and will for my life. And so I love that you did speak to that, because I do think that's an important part. Okay. So just practically, you've spoken to a lot of this, but you have to be intense and intentional, to put off, like know what your triggers are, know where you're falling.
Where do you fall?
Yeah.
Alone in your room, never be alone in your room.
Yeah.
On your phone, take everything off your phone, and it will be so uncomfortable. I remember going to the airport and they're like, hey, scan your boarding pass. And I didn't have internet to scan my boarding pass. Like things will be uncomfortable.
But be willing to get uncomfortable to get free.
Yeah.
I mean, truly.
Let other people in.
To find accountability.
Yes, have accountability.
And then 3, I would say prayer. We didn't touch on that.
Shawty just kind of closed her eyes and shot for that one. She's like, yeah, prayer sounds good.
Prayer is helpful.
It is so helpful.
God, give me the strength today. God, give me the strength to overcome these desires. But there was another thing. Oh, be proactive instead of reactive. You know, make the decisions outside of the heat of the moment. I would seriously like get a pen and a paper and be like, hey, when faced with this temptation, like what are your stumbling blocks? When faced with, I'm at a party and people are drinking.
What will I do?
What will I do? You know, I'm at a gathering and people are dressing this certain way. Like how am I going to dress? I'm alone in a room with someone that I like and it's tempting. What will I do? Whatever it is for you, like write those scenarios out and pre-decide in advance how you're going to respond, so that way you're living a life based off of what you value and what your convictions are, and not just based off of what your feelings are in a moment, because your feelings will fail you.
Amen. A to the men.
Okay, on a lighter note.
All right.
We really
My goodness.
hit that one topic really hard. Ooh. But clearly it's important.
Very.
Okay. How many kids do you want?
3.
4.
Adopted one?
Maybe.
You maybe. I feel like you've
I
been the
want
most
one.
passionate adoption.
I want to adopt. You don't know if you want to.
Yeah.
Adopt.
Well, it's not that I don't want to. It's like I've never thought about that growing up.
Yeah.
So we're in the midst of praying through that.
Okay, so I want 4. He wants 3.
Yeah.
We'll probably have 5.
Okay.
How do you handle in-law differences?
Man, that's another deep one. But to keep it light, you assume the best.
Yeah.
You always meet them with grace. I think like what we learned early on is like you don't say all the things you think. So I would say things to her and maybe they're not always beneficial.
Yeah.
And then 3 or 4, it's like people are different. Don't assign motive. Like don't be like, I bet they're that way because blank. You got to meet people with grace. And I love my in-laws so much. I have seriously the coolest in-laws in the game.
Yeah. We have been blessed.
So we're being blessed.
It has not been easy. Like we've had to
There've been
both,
moments.
overcome things just as like simple as you were raised differently than I was raised and I was raised differently than you were raised. And just even things like that would come up in our marriage, that we would see of like how you naturally do certain things, how I naturally do certain things, how you think about certain things, how I think about, and we just had to like figure that out. And a lot was based on our upbringing and just, what you saw and what I saw. And so I think that was definitely something we had to navigate and figure out for a long time. But I think in specific to, the relationship with the in-laws, be intentional. Like I think for me, we've had to have those conversations of like, it means a lot to me when you're intentional with my family. It means a lot to you when I'm intentional with your family. And so go out of your way to, to get to know the in-laws and to like ask questions and to take the brother or sister to lunch and to really pursue that relationship, to text, to call, to keep in touch, I think and we're still learning. I mean, we're a little over a year and a half in and we're still figuring it out. Yeah. And so I don't think we have the perfect answer at all, but I love what you said about assume the best, let your conversations be seasoned with grace and, be slow to get angry, be quick to listen. You were given 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So, listen more than you speak. And he's like,
this girl.
He's like, take your own advice. Okay, well, I'm talking about to in-laws.
No, I love it. No, I just thought it was like 2 ears, 1 mouth. That's good, baby.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, what we got next?
Okay, he's over that one. Let's do, what personality differences did you discover after being married and living together?
So like ones that I didn't know in dating with you. How much like I value like alone time. Like how much I need
your morning routines.
Solid. Yeah. I really needed like slow, solitude filled morning. And that really matters to me. And so we've had to really fight for like which mornings can I get that?
I think there's just a sense of, to put it just the way that it is, there's a sense of selfishness that is revealed on both ends that you see in marriage that you don't necessarily see in dating. Totally. Because in dating, you are putting your best foot forward and you're both having those individual, quiet times with God all the time and time with your girlfriends or your guy friends. And then you get married and you're together 24/7. And because you were, for us, we were dating God's way. So we did not live together before, getting married. And there was just a lot that we were learning when we got married. But I think the biggest thing that for sure came up was like, oh, I have a way that I like doing things. You have a way that you like doing things. And so selfishness just would continue to come up it took us a little bit to learn to die to those things.
For sure.
And to come towards each other. I think for the longest time, like I was trying to change him and like, okay, you like, no, like we need to have mornings together. We should have every morning together and have our breakfast and, do our quiet times together. And it's just like, that's not how God's wired Grant.
Totally
and
not.
I need to come towards him and love him the way that he needs to be loved and know that I can love him best when he gets to be alone with God and gets to be filled up by God. And then what happens is he ends up coming home, he's filled up, and now he can love me out of that overflow. Yep. And so I think it took some time for us to really learn, that. But there's even like little things of just like he's learned how much I love my baths at night.
Loves her baths.
I love my baths at night. And I think cooking was like an adjustment for sure. These aren't really personality things.
No, it's just...
I don't even really know personality
things. I have no idea. Next question. Keep going.
What do we like to do for fun together?
Okay. We love taking walks.
We do take
together.
walks often.
We love like a Saturday coffee shop together.
Yeah.
Go like read, talk, then go get lunch, maybe an acai bowl, enjoy like outside.
We love to find little moments too, like around the house, just to make the most out of even just like the most normal day ever. Like just start singing or like just being goofy and like dancing or, you know, turning music up really loud and just being crazy.
We love watching a movie together.
We love watching a good movie together.
Going to the movies is fun.
Yeah. And then just, I mean, honestly, like really intentional date nights, I feel like really fill both of us up. Probably me more, at least, I don't know. You probably
I like them too. I'm like I like them.
I start getting insecure. I'm like, do you like them?
I do like them.
No, I love that we are very intentional with like asking each other questions, and so getting into each other's worlds. I think it's very easy when you get married to just become like partners in life or just to become roommates.
Yeah.
And so to pursue each other, like we really are intentional with the questions that we ask each other. Even like if we only get 5 minutes at the end of a day of just what was the best part of your day? What did God teach you today? You know, how, and then once a week, we usually like to ask like, how are we doing? How can I be a better wife? How can you be a better husband? And so those kinds of things we love.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last one. 2 more?
Well, this one's really deep. So
no, we'll wait for that one.
Okay. It was on anxiety. We'll just do another podcast episode all on anxiety because that's a huge part of his story and even mine in a different way. And so I think that would be a really helpful topic for us to tackle and probably just focus on. Okay. Wedding day. Let's walk them through our wedding day because we got some questions asking about our wedding day. Is there anything we would do differently? And how was our wedding day?
Crazy. It was crazy.
Well, and it was very different. So like for me, I was with all my girls. I woke up. I remember I had like a long quiet time by myself. But then as soon as I walked out of my room, like it was go, 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 go. I mean, hair and makeup, like cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
It was pretty wild. You had like a super chill morning.
We went to like a coffee shop. We had a Bible study, which was fun.
Yeah.
Went home, chilled some more.
Yeah. You got to like pretty chill. I was thriving with my girls. I started getting like emotional and nervous kind of towards the end of like hair and makeup. I don't know that I would do anything differently. I think that my only regret is, which I don't even know that it's a regret, but like we did a first touch instead of a first look. And so we didn't like see each other, but we just like held hands and then like prayed over each other. And the only reason I say that is a borderline regret is because the timing of our wedding like was a little off. And so once the wedding ended, the light was like getting dark outside. And so our pictures together, like after our wedding, like reception, is that what I'm trying to say? Ceremony was not the best because it was just getting dark outside. So that made me a little sad.
Oh, you were so sad.
I was so sad. He saw that I was pretty sad, but you know, and just, it was really rushed. So I didn't even get like pictures with some of like my grandmothers, and you know, our pictures were a little rushed after. So that was probably my only regret. But
everything else was
amazing.
Good. The first touch, the first prayer that we went and chilled upstairs for 10 minutes.
Oh, right.
After the craziness of the ceremony.
Yeah. Right when we finished
and we
taking
just, like,
pictures, we just like had a breather.
Looked at each other.
Oh my gosh, we're married.
Yeah, it was so cool.
Yeah.
And then we walked into
our first dance was so fun.
Yes.
Our reception was amazing.
Yeah, we enjoyed it.
Truly, it was beautiful. I mean, everyone blew it out of the park. Like, it was so fun. We had coffee in there. We had like a little coffee machine thing in there. We had a live painter, and she like painted our ceremony, us like at the altar, and it was so sweet. And then our band was amazing. We danced. We had fun. I mean, truly, it was so much fun. And
yeah,
I don't know. Like, I've been to so many weddings, and I'm like, I loved our wedding the best ever.
And like,
and
there are things
that are just a little outside of your control.
There are things that don't matter.
Yeah.
And it's like, we got married, the gospel was preached.
Yeah.
We danced. You don't need a ton of things there.
Yeah.
You just need your family, your good people, and like, yeah, you got to mean your commitment.
Yeah.
We've said our vows to each other multiple times since then.
I included them in my book.
Keep your vows. Like, those were really powerful. I think those are probably the most powerful part of our whole wedding.
Our vows were so special. And the crazy thing about my vows is I wrote them when we were in the middle of like our biggest fight ever.
I remember.
We were in the middle of our biggest fight, and I just felt like in my heart,
what am I committing to?
What am I committing to? Because there was so much in me that was just like selfishness and pride and anger was rising up as we were in this fight and disagreement. And we had just gotten engaged. And I just remember being like, oh my goodness, like I'm signing up for, you know, a lifetime of there being disagreements, and like what matters most and what am I willing to fight for? Am I willing to fight to be right? Because what am I really winning in that? Or am I willing to fight for unity? And so I just started like writing out my vows, and it's really crazy because at the end of it, like reading them over, I was like, wow, this was beautiful and I meant them because I was writing them when I was like my most angry. Oh man. Okay.
Praise the Lord.
Our wedding day was amazing, but marriage is even better. And I'm like, I'm so thankful that we didn't put all of our stock in the wedding day. And so that's what I encourage everyone that I've, you know, come into contact with that's engaged is I'm like, hey, keep the main thing, you know, keep your eyes on what matters most, Jesus, and the fact that you are about to enter a covenant relationship. And so focus way more on you being the wife that God has called you to be, or you being the husband God has called you to be, rather than, you know, how picture perfect your wedding can be. I definitely had moments of getting caught up in that. But I had to continue to remind myself again and again. He saw me have a few breakdowns.
Yeah, she did.
He definitely saw me have a few breakdowns. Okay, this was so much fun. I love, little Bible pillows falling off. I love a good Q&A, and we'll do these every now and then because it's just a fun way to interact with you guys and hear what you guys want to hear about and how we can speak into your struggles or, you know, areas that you are struggling and thriving in, have questions about. And so it's so much fun. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I love it.
You brought the word.
I love it.
I looked at him and I was like, hey, you know, girl time, period. I'm feeling a little like not fully myself. I was like, you might have to carry this episode. And I feel like you did.
You did great.
You were the host today.
This is fun, babe.
You were awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, guys, we love you so much. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let us know what you took away. Let us know what you want to hear about next, who you want to see on the podcast, literally all the things. Be sure to check out the YouTube channel. That is where you can watch all of the episodes. I get asked that often. Where can I watch? You can watch it on YouTube. Check us out on Instagram and TikTok also. And check out Grant because he's awesome too.
Yeah, check me out.
I'm just giving Grant a shout out.
Check me out.
Okay, we love y'all so much.
Stay true.
No.
Say it.
No,
Wrap it up.
You say it.
Stay trizzy true.
No, it's not.
With Maddie Trizzy Troutt Prue.
No.
True. Stay true.
Okay, guys, as always,
keep it real.
Stay true. I love you.